y'all, it's Molly with Minnie Acres, and welcome to today's full Hot Mess Express garden tour. We're gonna look at all the things that I have neglected, but there's a lot of really good stuff happening too. So join me and you'll feel better about yourself as a gardener. Let's go. Here is the quote-unquote market garden. Remember, this is all an experiment. This is my first year just playing around, so maybe the weeds aren't as terrifying as they look. Today is May 17th, I think. So we're gonna call this the full garden tour for May. So in amongst the leaf mulch is where I do have some melons and squashes, and let's just see what is actually growing. So this is a Connecticut field pumpkin, and there's two plants and they've got some buds. And this whole area, I actually fertilized the other garden the other day and forgot about this area. So this is on my to-do list this week, is to fertilize this garden. All right, what are you? So there are 3 healthy plants here. Okay, this is a Seminole pumpkin, and these are supposed to be pumpkins that grow well in the south. So no pressure, y'all, but you're like the baseline that we're going off of here. Y'all need to do well for me to have some pumpkins this year. This video is also for me to remember what isn't doing well out here, so I can either start it again indoors or reseed it out here. And honeydew melon is not doing well because that's a weed. And I don't know if it's the seeds or if it's the gardener, but I have not had good luck with honeydew and cantaloupe ever. 2 healthy Congo watermelon plants. And yeah, this whole area, I need to do a better job of weeding and mulching and feeding these guys. There's a couple of sunflowers and 1 Charleston gray watermelon. He's getting some growth on him. Here's 3 really healthy looking spaghetti squash plants. And they're starting to make some little buds and tendrils. I poked some sunflowers all throughout, so they're just kind of everywhere at this point. What are you? This is a Georgia rattlesnake watermelon. There's a little tiny one. They're putting on some growth. Okay, so maybe I lied, because right here, this is orange honeydew melon, and there's 3 healthy plants here. That's good news. Stop following me. I feel like my kabocha squash seeds popped up really fast. Okay, this is sugar pie pumpkin, and I can't tell how many plants that is. I think that's 1 big healthy plant, and then there's 1 smaller scrawny one on the other side. So maybe we'll get some pumpkins this year. That'll be my first year growing pumpkins. This is a sad little crimson sweet. The sunflower looks really healthy. That's a little Hale's Best cantaloupe. So maybe I do have some cantaloupes and melons in my future. Here is a happy little sunflower and a tiny puny little sugar baby watermelon. Here was supposed to be moon and stars. My moon and stars were... You did not just fly over the fence, Mabel. My moon and stars were seeds I collected last year from a melon, so maybe they weren't any good. Who do you think you are? And then I have butternut squash. Okay, this might be traumatizing, so look away if you have to. I have sunflowers. The mammoth sunflower seeds that I got from Celtic Roots Farm are tucked in among my sweet potatoes, and some of the sweet potatoes are looking sad, but some are starting to perk up. And this whole area, I'm telling you what, who do you think you are? This whole area needs to be weeded, fertilized, and mulched really well. That's on the to-do list. Oh, this is really healthy. This is pokeweed. If you're from the South, this is familiar to you. This is actually a nutritious and tasty plant. If you cook it, it tastes like spinach. If you eat it raw, it will kill you. And I'm not joking. Okay, we're moving on. Here's some more sweet potatoes. And here I've got sunflowers. I think there's zinnias in here too. I'm really not 100% sure. But here I have one sad little okra. Hopefully it's going to pick up soon, but I decided to restart some okra seeds. More sweet potatoes. Yeah, I don't think any of my other okra has... Oh, here's one. There's a Jing orange that's not doing terrible, and some sunflowers that are alright. And then up here, pretty sure my roselle didn't germinate at all. And I did share roselle seeds with a couple of people. I don't remember all who. I know that Charlotte at Gulf Coast Granny said her roselle seeds didn't come up either. Look, that might be coming up. We'll keep an eye on it. But I did start a few more seeds indoors. This might just have been a year that I needed to start my seeds inside. And then I have some sweet corn. And it needs to be, it really needs to be taken better care of. The weeds have just gone crazy in here. It's pretty ridiculous. And then this is all weeds. There might still be some English peas in there, but I was ripping plants out and just giving them to my chickens. You coming? Are you limping? Psst, psst, psst. Come on, buddy. I have locked my cats in here before. It's their own fault. This is still absolutely fabulous. And let's go over here real quick. My little gardenias are blooming. Can you smell that? I thought these were the same variety as the big ones whenever I bought them, but apparently they're not. So they're not getting big and full like the other bushes, and they bloom sooner. But they smell the same. We've got lots of milkweed blooming in all the nooks and crannies. And in all so far, we've had 7 monarch butterflies to hatch and then just basically ditch us. They didn't stick around or anything. But you can see these are already putting on their seed pods, which is kind of early for my experience. Oh, hi. What are you ladies doing? You want to go to the garden and eat some slugs? Come on. All right. I've got to get a fence up here so bad because Rusty keeps getting in here and dancing around. That's frustrating. But this is the space where I just dumped thousands of seeds, and then the next day it rained and washed them all out. And so I've been slowly transplanting some small plants and put some more seeds, and who knows what's all in here. You can see the little purples. Those are some amaranth. There's zinnias popping up. That's basil. I've tucked in some sunflowers. Those bigger plants are established milkweed plants. They're not as old as the ones by the house. And that's an established lantana that's going to have to move once we put a fence up here. Like, this is all weeds, but then there's a, I don't know what, I think that might be a zinnia. And then all tucked in here into the edge in the corner. It's just, it looks kind of sad and terrible right now, but it'll be fine. Pretty sure these are armadillo holes, because they like to come out here at night and dig for grubs and mess up people's yards. Peppermint, very happy. Sage is coming along. The lemon balm, I thought I had killed it. It looked pretty dead, but the new growth looks healthier, so maybe it's okay. This is marshmallow plants that are doing pretty well. This is an impulse purchase plant that I got from the nursery the other day. Isn't she pretty? She is a tricolor sage, and I love her. That is mint that I tucked in. I thought it was spearmint, but apparently it doesn't actually have spearmint characteristics, even though it smells just like spearmint gum. But those are bits where I had cut off of plants, given away so many, and then finally I just was sticking things in the ground. That is an orange mint that is going to take over the world, and I'm okay with it. Let's go over here where the duck is. Ignore the piles of giant yard puppy poop. Hey girls. Oh, they perked up a lot. Ignore the weeds, but I was watering my hydrangeas that I had moved over here, and I can only find 2 plants, so the third one disappeared. But when I was watering this fern, I went ahead and destroyed it before I showed y'all. Sarah, I'm talking. But all up the plant, fire ants had brought in dirt and just built a castle. So I just jet sprayed them while I was watering. Sarah! I don't know if you can see the ants in there, but I made them angry. I'm going to have to do something else, but I cannot believe that they climbed up the chair into the pot and built themselves a castle in the sky. They're getting too smart. Sarah! And all of this is all weeds. Then I have this spider plant hanging in this tree that I totally neglect, and he's happy, but the one in the house is dying. So, house plants. Now into the garden we go. Over here, I finally planted these planters. There is the dwarf Taylor horticulture beans, which were my freebies from Mary's Heirlooms, in all of the spots on the bottom. And on the top is another impulse purchase from, I mean, it wasn't impulsive. It was sort of a planned impulse trip to the nursery. This is pineapple mint, and I love it. And I put it here because I really wasn't sure where else to put it at this point. Oh, it smells so good. And then this is more of that other mint that I just needed to stick somewhere. This side is, what is this? What kind of beans are these? This is where I put my Jacob's cattle beans. And on the top, I put some Genovese basil, and I'm gonna put, over here, I'm gonna try again to grow my beta alpha cucumbers that I got seeds from Grow Something with Jeff, and I didn't even realize that they didn't sprout until the other day. But I'm gonna put a couple of seeds here, and I'm gonna put a couple of cucamelon seeds here, and then if they actually grow, I'm just gonna let them trellis right here and hope that Rusty doesn't find them. Hi, can I help you? My Cherokee wild rose, some of them don't look so hot, but some of them look like maybe they're not going to die. This was also slightly impulsively purchased. These are some strawberries. I'm leaving them in the basket for now because of the fact that I'm dealing with slugs on the ground, to see if I can get some strawberries to, I don't know, I think I might hang this up somewhere, but I don't know where yet. One lone sad little mystery tomato that doesn't have a home. This is a thornless blackberry, Arapaho. So I replaced the Austin dewberry that was here. Actually, I moved it over to that other bed where I scattered all those seeds to let it climb up the fence, but this is where I really want thornless stuff. So that thorny raspberry is going to have to go too. This was an impulse purchase, especially because right now we're actually getting a lot of blackberries off of our wild blackberry vines, but they're so it's not fun to pick them whenever they're so full of thorns. A really weedy asparagus patch. Add that to my to-do list. This jostaberry is completely neglected down here at the end of the bed, but I guess it's growing as fast as I should expect it to. And then this is just a thorn. There's no fruit or anything on these hideous, horrible thorns. They just grab you and poke you. So obviously they climbed under the fence. I'm gonna have to pull it out. My strawberries I had a really yummy strawberry coming on, and I was waiting till the next day to pick it, and when I got out here the next day, a slug was sitting on it, laughing at me. That died. These lettuces are going to seed that I brought out here specifically so that they would go to seed. It looks like maybe some of these are getting dried out enough that I can harvest them, but it seems like it's taking forever for my things that I was letting go to seed to get dry so that I can pull them. It's taking a long time because I've been waiting for this. This is my excuse. I've been waiting for this to be where I can harvest the seeds, and then I'm going to come in here and, you know, pull all the weeds and mulch it really well and have it be just for strawberries, right? That's my excuse. There's my girls. Hi. No pressure, Diana, but you need to find the slugs and destroy them. You have one mission. I came out the other day to prune and string up my tomatoes, and it just doesn't last. So I'm learning something about the Florida weave, that I did it wrong to start with, and nobody told me that I did it wrong. But the more I think about it, I couldn't have done it right because my tomato plants were not all growing at the same rate where you could weave them together. So the way that I did it is actually fine, considering you have to weave each one as it reaches that height. The problem has been is as they reach that height, they're pulling the string down and making it hard to continue using it. So basically my tomatoes are a hot mess now, and it's just how it's going to be this year. I'm just going to continue doing my faux Florida weave. Then next year, I think I'm going to try something different. But I'm not sure I want to go back to cattle panels because, one, they're expensive and I would need a bunch of them. And two, they're such a hot surface that I feel like they are burning my plants. So next year we'll do another experiment. In the meantime, let's look at my Home for Wayward tomatoes. And I've got some stuff growing in the middle. That toothache plant looks fantastic. I think I need to just do a tomato video and look at each of the tomato plants and the varieties, because it will take way too long to do that in this video. There's a tomato. And there's some basil back there. I've been pinching it to try to get it to be bushier. This whole area needs to be weeded and cleaned out. It's just a jungle back here, and I just don't even care. Look at all those blueberries. Listen, don't tell anybody you saw these blueberries, and I will share them with you, okay? Because as soon as I'm done with this, I'm gonna come back here and pick all these blueberries and eat them. Oh yeah, look at that. This actually might almost be enough that I can share. I've been coming out here and eating 2 or 3 at a time every day. Ooh, I just walked through a spider web. Sorry, spider. See that? Look at that weed. This is just surrounded by weeds. I need to do some cleaning up. Oh, look at that. Come here, you big juicy fella. Look how big that is. That's a big one. One solution for propping up our peach trees for now that my husband came up with. But look at all the peaches. I'm not sure if you can tell how much they've grown since the last time I showed y'all the trees. And that lemon tree over there has so many blooms. Oh, I didn't show you the other one that has a bunch of actual little lemons all over it. I got some citrus and avocado fertilizer for my lemon. Hey, we've yet to have bats use that bat house, but the birds like it. Okay. Anyway, I got fertilizer and I fed everybody over here. This is a hot mess express right here because I used my fertilizer that I made from weeds, and let me tell you, it's fantastic and it smells horrible. And if you have to stick your hand in it, your hand will smell like it forever, and you've been warned, because I'm not going to say that I did that, but let's just say somebody in my house smelled bad for days. Look at all these tiny little lemons. There's so much to show you. My gladiolas are popping up. Let's go over here and I'll show you. And I harvested 7 or 8 scapes off of my elephant garlic, and I used it to make, what did I make? I sauteed them and put them in scrambled eggs, and it was delicious. My leeks are getting bigger. I need to pull the grass in between them. And I think I need to harvest some of these Hishiko green onions. I think they're past time for me to harvest them. And I also need to weed them as well. Excuse me, sir. Now, I want you to notice something with me. My ginger is not looking great. I don't know if you can tell that this is like mushy, but there's a root. I think this spot is just that it's not happy here. So, let's dig up this one that was, oops, I just broke the sprout on it on camera. Good job, Malls. Oh, look, it's got some sprouts. Should I leave it here? It's not very sunny in this spot. And that's what I thought the problem was. But maybe that's not it, but let me flip you up here and show you. Hi. I thinned out the tree, so there's more sun coming through here. So maybe I should just give it some more time. Let me know what you think. So the artichoke is growing. She's gonna say something every time I say something. This holy basil, let me smell it. Okay, I don't remember if this is the one I smelled last time and it didn't smell good. Remember I said it smelled like skunk? Well, this one smells pretty good. So maybe it just needed to get bigger. It needed more sun or something. I don't know what kind of beans those are. I don't remember what I planted here last year, but they volunteered. Here's a dying rosemary. That's fantastic. And then this is a spot that needs to be planted with something because that's where my cucumbers didn't come up. Are you guys finding any snacks? Don't you peck me. I don't have food on me. The asparagus just keeps on going. Hey. And putting on new ones. Oh. Where I trimmed the mulberry, these are the branches that I had kept that I thought I might dry and save, but that's a lot. That'd make a lot of tea if I keep all those leaves. But I threw some over the fence to let Rusty have them, because I don't know if y'all remember me telling you about him reaching over the fence and eating off of the trees. Well, he doesn't want it if he's allowed to have it. So there it sits. So I need to drag those branches off. This oregano needs to be harvested. This little tiny toothache plant, it looks like it might come back. And I had tucked in some more of my nasturtiums in here. This nasturtium, I think this is the one that came in this mix of edible flowers. And I pulled out a bunch of stuff and moved it over to that spot where the seeds had washed. And you can't even tell that I thinned this area out at all. But I think this is mostly like dill and basil. I came in here and pinched a bunch of these zinnias. And I know it was for the best, but I still instantly regretted it. And their first little flowers look kind of sad. So I hope that maybe pinching them was the right thing to do for them to start growing more flowers and bigger flowers. Diana, the slugs are this way. Come on. This joker. What is this? So the ponderosa's got a bunch of fruit on it. These plants, let me see. I think it's this one, and I'm not sure if this is the one that's a boxcar willy or the gardener's delight. These are the two that I got confused. Anyway, it's been really sick. I had to cut a lot of branches off of it, so I'm keeping an eye on him. And I wanted to harvest these carrots because I'm just afraid it's getting too hot and they're not going to be any good. So let's pull them up now and see what we have, because look, I think I actually grew a carrot. Wow, I don't remember what variety this is. Look at it. These are not terrible. This gives me hope for the future. It's not all about you. Okay, so I'm going to move these so somebody doesn't snatch them. I'm looking at you. The lettuce that was growing after I cut it has started to go to seed. Ooh, that homestead has a nice tomato on it. Do y'all think I need to harvest this garlic? This is the garlic mixed with these dandelion type plants. This is the garlic that I got from the grocery store, and to me the plants look pretty done, but I'm not sure if I should go ahead and pull them. I did pull one. It had 3 cloves on it, so I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I should expect that they're going to get any bigger, or since I let it just be right here in this weedy spot, if that's just the best I'm going to get. What do you think? Should I harvest it? Because, I mean, this is a nice big space if I were to harvest that, pull out those dandelion things, and then I have a big spot to grow some more stuff. Okay, don't let me forget where I left the carrots. There are flowers on my Armenian cucumbers. The plants they're not really growing that quickly, but I know they're going to take off. And the same with these cucumbers. What is this one? This is my Marketmore cucumber. They're just kind of growing slow in this spot. There's a random bean growing up here. I don't remember what beans were here last year, but my Kajari melons still are not sprouting. So I think I might have started some inside. I started a bunch inside the other day. You know how I do. And then this cucumber, this is the only plant I have. What are you? What brand are you? What brand are you? Oh, this is a muncher cucumber, and I only have the one plant, but look at all those blooms. He's not started to climb yet. And these are Romano beans. I need to harvest some more off of them. I got a handful the other day and just ate them raw in the garden. They were really good. This is a monster. Can you tell how many blooms are on this plant? There's one plant. I have one Berry's Crazy Cherry, and it is covered in fruit and blooms. And a bumblebee. All right, little one. My cherry tomato row, it got away from me just a little bit. But this is a prime example of how the Florida weave has not worked for me, because they're growing at such different rates and in all different directions, and the string has just not been sufficient to get the job done. Okay, I fertilized a bunch of things, but it looks like maybe I missed this delicata squash. It looks a little yellow. I need to give it something to eat. Can you see all the fruit in here? Look! Those are blueberries, and I grew those last year. They were really good. My little sweet pea currants. There's a bunch of little teensy tiny tomatoes, but they're not ripe yet. This one that claimed to be a yellow pear, but is definitely not a pear. I've eaten a few off of it, and it's just a tasty yellow tomato, but it's definitely not a yellow pear. Look at that little fat bumblebee. Get it. Get in there. Okay. This, where are we? Okay. This is a sun gold. I've eaten a couple of the fruit, and it's my first time growing sun golds and tasting them. And I have to say, it's pretty good. I don't know if that one's quite ready to harvest. So I'm nervous with any tomatoes that aren't red, because I've done this a few times, that these yellow ones, I thought it looked ripe, and when I barely touched it, it did fall off, but then you could tell it wasn't completely ripe. It wasn't as good as it could be. But I did have one sun gold that was definitely ripe. Now, I don't know if it's because sun golds are supposed to be the most delicious cherry tomatoes, or if it's because it was the first tomato that I had, that it was so good that I was like, oh, this is the best. Was it just because I was, you know, excited about that first tomato? Or was it that good? It's a mystery. Buds coming on this cocazelle. Oh, look, a little tiny zinnia. Little eggplant that might live. This chamomile looks kind of sad. I don't know if I managed to get over here when I was giving everybody some fertilizer, because this still looks kind of sad too. Oh, I have one little scallop squash. My cowpeas look sad. My loofah looks kind of puny, to be honest. But I guess they're growing. Costata romanesco. I think what's going to happen is everything is going so slow, and all of a sudden it's going to explode all at once. And then I'm going to be overrun. This is the other cocazelle. I moved it over here when I was trying to space everybody out. Now, this amaranth has been chewed to bits. But look at this sweet alyssum. These birdhouse gourds are picking up steam. And you can see how the tomatoes are sort of falling over here. And I've just let them. I sort of gave up. But this birdhouse gourd, he's taken off. There's just something about when they're clinging to the trellis as they're climbing up with their little heads, that it's just like, to me, it kind of looks like this is his face and these are his little hands, and he's like singing a show tune. Is that just me? Am I the only one that sees that? Forage, more beans. I will be overrun with beans here very soon. The Romanesco were okay. I'm not sure if I'll grow them again as I start trying out more beans and deciding what is worth growing in my garden and what's not. This is my first Queen Lime Blush zinnia, and I cannot wait for her to open. All the weeds, but over there are my little few sunflowers that came up. Not nearly as many as I sowed, but it's still some. So another thing that I did, I took the Chinese noodle beans and moved them on this arch instead of the arch down there where they were. They were down there sharing an arch with Malabar spinach. But I have this anxiety over how badly the aphids were on the Chinese noodle beans last year, that I was afraid if I left them there and they came back again this year, would they also damage the Malabar spinach? So I moved them, and they're growing. It doesn't seem like transplanting them shocked them or made any difference for them. So far, so good. And as we come down here, some of my peppers are putting on some blooms. Those have some really pretty flowers. The purple ones. The yellow ones are a tomato that just won't stay in his lane. And then here is the Malabar spinach. There's red and green all mixed together. I just wound up bringing over a few that were in other spots and putting them all in one place, I guess. Let me pull that out. I see that they've been chewed on a little bit, but hopefully they'll pick up steam and start growing pretty soon. I've got a little bachelor's button popping up. Ooh, look, that one's really pretty. Huh. My camera does not show how fuchsia-y bright purple it is. I hadn't thought about the color of my camera being off, but it is not looking to me through my camera like it is in real life. In real life, it is like a neon magenta kind of color. More sad peppers that are trying their best. I moved my moringa to full sun. It was advice that Miss Linda at the New Orleans Gardener gave me, and I think it's perking up. The new growth on it looks a lot better than the curled leaves, and I did feed it the other day too. The forget-me-nots are petering out. And let's go over here. Chinese 5-color peppers. I actually need to take one of these in and see if my son, who likes hot peppers, will do a taste test. And my Greek basil, I need to pinch these blooms. It seems to want to bloom faster than all my other basils. Ooh, yeah, that smells nice. There's some weird stuff happening on this row. There was an Arkansas Traveler here, and it just died. So I had an extra, what is this? I had an extra beefsteak, so I just stuck him in here. But I'm curious why it died. And then this guy looks really sad too. What are you? That's a Floridade. Tomatoes that are supposed to do well in my climate are the ones that are like dropping dead. What's that about? And there was another one down here. Here it is. Here's the other Floridade that the top of it died, and so I was just letting the a sucker grow, and it seems to be okay. So I don't understand what that's about. Here's a 42-day. This amaranth grew overnight. These cucumbers are leaving. Let's see if I can turn it back the other way. Can you go back the way you came, honey? I'm always so nervous I'm gonna break them because I have before. So those look good. Fire ants took over where this catnip is. I think they would have taken over this pot no matter what was planted here though, because they just like the heat of this pot. Trionfo Violetto, they are really starting to climb. That's awesome. I guess we'll just keep going in this direction. I don't remember, did I go down this way? This is what's left of my patty pan. And I bought 2 zucchinis at the nursery because mine kept dying. So hopefully these starts are big enough to survive any slug and snail attacks. I don't know why it's taking so long for these to dry. I really want to pull these out, but I also really want to save some seeds. I'm keeping this in mind for the future, that I want to be sure I'm planting things that I don't care if they take forever, because I don't need this space. Technically, I don't need this space right now, but what if I did? And also, I don't, like, it's just taking up the walkway too. That's a lot of turnip seeds. Let's see. So I see some beans that we could probably harvest. Look at that. That borage has grown a ton in just a couple days. Here's some beans. What are you? What kind of beans are you? I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, there's a stick. What's it say? Oh, okay. So these are the Blue Lake bush beans. I had a couple of plants survive whatever it was that happened when I planted them. The onions are starting to bulb up. That's a good sign. Teeny tiny little flowers coming up on some of my, these are my sweet peppers, or non-hot peppers. And a couple more beans that I just left them because they weren't fed. Something that I got for Mother's Day. This will come in handy as I am going along pulling weeds, but I have to pull weeds in the walkway so that I can actually roll it. These cucumbers are covered in blooms, and the ugliest little cucumbers fruits that I have ever seen in my life. These are homemade cucumbers, and they were just these spiky, ugly little guys, but now I can't find one. Oh, here's one. I'm sure he's gonna taste good, but the idea of him being so prickly, I don't want to eat that. More beans that I put in place when my cucumbers didn't come up, and they're taken off. And now we've come to the part of the tour where I don't know if I missed something. Well, if I missed something, then that'll be in the next tour, right? And I feel like we're just on the edge of about to be harvesting more food than I know what to do with each day. Even though it really won't be that much, it's sort of like I'm feeling overwhelmed even with just a little bit. It's like, this is what I wanted, but now that it's here, I'm tired. So I am going to get busy with all of my plans for this week. I hope your gardens are growing and that you're about to be up to your ears in harvest too. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. Where did I leave those carrots?